Hello, in this video, we are going to review all of the topics that are on the Geometry Quarter 3 Quarterly. There are 18 questions on the regular Geometry Quarterly and 20 questions on the Honors Geometry Quarterly. We have 14 topics here in this video, and so some of the topics, there are duplicate questions on the test. So with that being said, let's hop into our first question. It asks, find the distance between points -2, -8, and -1, -2. So there's a three-step process for finding distance. 1, we have to subtract x. 2, we have to subtract y. And 3, we have to use the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so if we do that, we have -2 minus -1, which is -2 plus 1, which is -1. Here we have -8 minus -2, that's -8 plus 2, which is -6. And in the Pythagorean theorem, we can actually ignore the negatives here. So we just have 1 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 1 plus 36 equals c squared. 37 equals c squared. And then if I take the square root of 37, I get 6.1. So 6.1 is my distance between these 2 points. So now you'll see a corresponding question where you can try to find the distance between 2 points. Okay, let's try question number 2. In question number 2, it says a line segment has the endpoints -55, -19, and -29, 65. Find the coordinates of its midpoint. So to find the midpoint, we just simply have to take the average of x and the average of y, and we get a coordinate. That would be the midpoint. So let's find the average of x first. That would be -55 plus -29 divided by 2. And then the average of the y would be -19 plus 65 divided by 2. All right, so we have to, because we have two negatives, we're going to add these two up. So when we add -55 and -29, we get -84 divided by 2, and we get -42 for our x value. Okay. And then 65 and -19 have opposite signs, so we're going to subtract. 65 minus 19 is 46. Divided by 2 is 23. And there's our midpoint, -42, 23. So go ahead and give the midpoint question a try. All right, let's try the third question on the quarterly. It says that FG has a midpoint of 6,3. Point G is at 7,6. Find the coordinates of point F. So what they want us to find is the endpoint. So in class, we discussed this. We said, okay, the midpoint is the answer. So if I want to find an x and a y, I know that on the x side, my answer is going to be 6. And on the y side, my answer is going to be 3. All right. So now I start and I look at 7, 6. So I can see that 7 plus some value of x divided by 2 is going to be 6. And then over here, I can see that 6 plus some value of y divided by 2 is going to be 3. Now we just have to use some algebra here. We're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. We get 7 plus x equals 12, minus 7 from both sides. And I get x equals 5. Same process over here. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. So I get 6 plus y equals 6. Subtracting 6 from both sides, we get y equals 0. And with that, we know our endpoint is 5, comma 0. All right, go ahead, give that endpoint question a try. Our next geometry question is actually just for honors. So if you're in the regular geometry class, you can skip this question and move on to the next one. The question says the coordinate of the endpoints are 3, 5, and 17, 19. Point K divides the line segment in a 3-to-4 ratio. Okay, so we discussed in class, this is partitioning of a line segment. So we have this, the first thing we have to figure out is what fraction we have moved from the start point along the line. So it says here it's 3 parts out of a total 7 parts. So that's a 3/7 of the line from the starting point. So to find the to find the x and y value, what we need to do is we need to find the difference between x and the difference between y, multiply by our ratio, and then add the starting point. So let's do x first. So x is going to be equal to 3/7, and then we're going to subtract the x value, 17 minus 3. And then we're going to add the starting point. So we're going to add 3. Okay. So here, 17 minus 3 is 14. So it's 3/7 times 14 plus 3. Okay. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So that means x value is going to be 9. And then on the y side, we're going to do the same process. So y equals 3/7. And then we're going to subtract the y values, 19 minus 5. And then we're going to add back the starting value of y, and that's 5. So we have 19 minus 5, that's also 14. So this is going to be 3/7 times 14 plus 5. Okay, 14 divided by 7 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. So when we partition our line segment, we're going to end up at 9/11. 9/11 is 3/7 of the way from the starting point. All right, why don't you give that partitioning a line segment question a try? All right, our next question is, it's kind of hidden here by my picture, but it says, what is the area of this triangle? Now, this is for both geometry classes, honors and regular. So we learned in class that we could use a subtraction method. So what we have here is we have a series of right triangles that we can use to figure out the triangle. So we can highlight the 3 triangles that I see anyway. Okay, and the rectangle or the quadrilateral that we formed is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 6 by 5 quadrilateral. That's our starting point of 30 units for the area. Now let's start to subtract some of our right triangles here. So I'm going to change colors and let's look at this triangle first, this red triangle here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units by 3 units. So we're going to do 6 by 3 divided by 2 is 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we have 9 units for the red. All right. Now let's look at the this blue triangle down here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 by 2. divided by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's going to be 4 additional units there. And then lastly, let's look at our third triangle here. And that is 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 times 2 divided by 2. That's 10 divided by 2, which is 5. And then to finish our triangle, to finish our area problem, we have to do 30 minus 9 minus 4 minus 5. So 5 and 4 is 9, 9 and 9 is 18, 30 minus 10 is 20, 20 minus 8 is 12. So 12 is our area. Why don't you go ahead and give that area problem a try. Our next problem is area of a kite. So you'll remember from class the area of a kite is equal to diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. So once you know what you need to look for, it actually becomes quite easy. Again, this is for both geometry classes. So 7 and 4 is going to be 11. 3 and 3 is 6. Okay. This is going to be 66 divided by 2. 66 divided by 2 is 33. So why don't you go ahead and give that kite problem a try. Okay, our next question, we have to find the area of a composite shape here. So I see a couple things, a few things. I see a triangle at the top, a triangle at the bottom, and I see a rectangle in the middle. So again, because rectangles are the same, they have parallel sides. We know that there's an 8 here, and I think we have all the information we need. So the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be equal to 8 times 2 divided by 2. Okay, so that's going to be 8. All right, so that's triangle 1. The rectangle is going to be length times width. So that's going to be 8 by 7, which is 56. And then the triangle at the bottom, again, is base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be 8 times 3 divided by 2. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And then we have to just add these up. So we have 12 plus 8 is 12 plus 8 plus 56. So we get 12 plus 8 is 20. 56 plus 20 is 76 area. So why don't you go ahead and give that composite area question a try. All right, our next question is an area of a trapezoid question. So again, the area of a trapezoid is the bases, base 1 plus base 2 added up, times the height, all divided by 2. So if you know what to look for, again, it's just punching keys on a calculator. So we have the bases of 12 and 10. So we have 12 plus 10, a height of 9, and then we divide by 2. So 12 plus 10 is 22. So it's 22 times 9 divided by 2. And then, well, we can simplify here, right? Because we know that 22, half of 22 is 11, and then 11 times 9 is 99. So we know the area of this trapezoid is 99. So why don't you go ahead and give that trapezoid question a try. Okay, our next topic is area of a circle. So the area of a circle is equal to pi times the radius squared. All right. We are given in the problem a circular rug has a diameter of 2.4 feet. How many square feet does the rug take up on the floor? So a little tricky because the diameter is not what we're looking for. We need the radius. And if you remember from class, the radius is half the diameter. So that's going to be 1.2. Okay, so now that we have the radius, we know pi is equal to 3.14. And now we plug our numbers in. So we have 3.14 times 1.2 squared. Okay. 1.2 squared is going to be 1.44. And then I'm going to use my calculator here to multiply by 3.14. And I get 4.52 or 4.5. It doesn't say whether to round to the nearest tenth, but if it will on the test, 4.5 is going to be our answer. Okay, why don't you give that circle question a try? All right, our next topic has to do with parallel and perpendicular lines. Find the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is 2x plus 2y equals 24. So we did these in class the other day. 2x plus 2y equals 24, right? And we need to solve for y because the goal here is y equals mx plus b. So, okay, well, let's start outside to inside. Let's try to remove some things from y here. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. And I get 2y equals negative 2x plus 24. And then I'm going to divide by 2 here, here, and here. And I get y equals negative 1x plus 12. Okay. So again, we're looking for the slope, right? And that's the m value. So the slope here is negative 1. Well, we need perpendicular. We need opposite reciprocal of negative 1. Well, if negative 1 over 1 is opposite, that's going to be a positive, and then 1 over 1. So our answer, our perpendicular slope, is a slope of 1. Why don't you give that perpendicular or parallel slope question a try? Okay, so this question is just for the honors group. So again, if you're in regular geometry, you can skip this question and move on to the next one. The question is, line L has an equation of y equals negative x minus 2. Find the distance between L and the point negative 4, negative 3. So it's a 3-step process. We did it in class the other day. The first step in the process is we need the equation of a line that's perpendicular and goes through negative 4, negative 3. All right. So a perpendicular line to y equals negative x minus 2 is going to have a slope of positive 1, right? Because the slope that is given to us is negative 1. Opposite reciprocal of negative 1 is positive 1. So we know y equals mx plus b. Okay, I know y is negative 3. The slope is negative 1. X is negative 4. And we're trying to solve for b. So negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So negative 3 equals 4 plus b. We're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I get b equal to negative 7. Okay, which makes my equation y equals negative x minus 7. Nope. Positive x, right? Because it's 1x. All right, so it's a little hidden here. So what I'll do is I'll rewrite this up here. So we have one equation. So step 2 is to solve the system. Okay, so equation number 1 is y equals negative x minus 2. Equation number 2 is y equals x minus 7. Okay, and because y equals y, we can set these equal to one another. So we have negative x minus 2 equals x minus 7. All right, numbers on one side, letters on the other. So we go negative x, positive 2, negative x, negative 7. This is negative 2x. And then 7 minus 2 is 5. This is going to be negative 5. And then divide both sides by negative 2. And I get x is equal to positive 2.5. All right, so x is positive 2.5. Let's plug 2.5 in up here. Okay, so we got 2.5 minus 7 here, and we're going to get negative 4.5. Okay, so that's our point. Now part 3 is we have to find distance. Okay, so part 3 is we find the distance. We have to find the distance between our original point, that's negative 4, negative 3, and our new point, 2.5, and negative 4.5. All right. So it works the same even when we have decimals here. So we have negative 4 minus 2.5. That's going to be negative 6.5. So again, we can ignore the negatives, and we're just going to take 6.5 squared. And then we're going to do negative 3 minus negative 4.5. And I get 1.5 squared. Okay, and then we're going to do 6.5 squared plus 1.5 squared. And I get 44.5. And then we have to take the square root of 44.5. And I get 6.67 or 6.7 distance between that. So that's probably the hardest question on the honors test is this one right here. So why don't you go ahead and give the distance between a point and a line a try on the practice. Okay. All right, back to regular geometry and honors geometry at this point. So we're going back to the beginning of the quarter with this question. It's SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so we have SOHCAHTOA. We're trying to find side CD, which is right here. I'm going to put an X there. And now we have to label our right triangle here. So we have the opposite side, we have the adjacent side, and we have our hypotenuse. So now looking here, I can see I have the hypotenuse. I'm trying to find adjacent. That's going to be cosine. So the cosine of 35 over 1 is equal to x over 7. We're going to cross multiply, and we get 7 cosine of 35. So I'm going to use my calculator. 7 cosine 35 is equal to 5.7. And that's the missing side length. Okay. The next topic on the test, again, is for both honors and regular, is we have to find a missing angle. So we have, in this problem right here, we have. So in this video, in this problem right here, again, it comes down to SOHCAHTOA. but because we're trying to find the angle, it's going to be inverse trigonometry. So we're trying to find angle U. So from angle U, let's label our triangle here. We got opposite, we have adjacent, and we have hypotenuse. So it looks like we were given opposite and hypotenuse. That's sine, right? So in order to find an angle, we have to use inverse. So we're going to take the inverse of sine, and then it's opposite over hypotenuse. That's going to be 6/8. And once again, you can use your calculator. So we have second sine, 6 divided by 8, and I get 48.6 degrees. And that's my angle measure there. And last topic on the test is again not early quarter, maybe the middle of the quarter, and that is non-right triangle trig, and that is this problem right here. This is both honors and regular. We're going to find W. So we know here that W has a relationship with 86, right? And it's the law of sines. So we have sine of 86 over W. And then we have to find another relationship here. And we see that we have one. So we have sine of 42 over 9. Okay, and now again, just like the proportion in the last problem, we're going to cross multiply where we have two numbers here. So we can do 9 sine 86, and I get 8.97. But without writing that problem down, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the divide button, and then we're going to divide by the sine of 42. And I get 13.4. All right. So why don't you try to complete those questions? I know this video is about 28 minutes long right now. So I'll be looking for a certain number to be complete in both classes. But then, of course, to prepare for the quarterly, I would finish all the rest when you at home when you have the time. All right. I hope this video helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.